Hello, hello, and welcome. I am Sarah Lockett, and I am going to be hosting this live stream today for you, as well as the third MiraBan UK Film Awards on the 17th of March, powered by the MiraBan company, founded by our festival director, Jay Manari, who is with us today. Say hello, Jay.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, where are you joining us from tonight?
London,
excellent. Same as me. Okay, good. Now, also with us today is the festival juror Thomas De, who is French. He's a French documentary maker and an actor. So welcome, Thomas. Are you excited for this live stream? I am hoping he is.
It's fantastic.
You're in New York, are you?
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic, very, very glamorous. Now, you are both going to be asking your own questions in a moment, and I have lots of questions that I want to ask from the two filmmakers that we have on this evening. So let me just give you a bit of background about the MiraBan UK Film Awards. It's an international, diversity-driven, independent film festival run by and for independent filmmakers, and we're looking for original underground stories created despite the challenges of working in an indie production. So every time we do these awards, the MiraBan UK Film Awards, winners receive double exposure and recognition, because that's thanks to our international festival partner, Festival Emergence, based in Montreal, Canada. Now, they screen our winning films during their festival too, so you get two bites of the cherry. Now, if you want to take advantage of this partnership, MiraBan UK Film Awards submissions are still open. You can still enter, and you can submit your film by visiting mirabanukfilmawards.co.uk, and you can see all of the different categories that are there that will fit perhaps your film. So today we are talking about a fantastic diversity-driven story, the story of our two special guests, Josué Precioso and his father, Franco Precioso. So welcome to you both, if you'd both like to say hello.
Hi, thanks for having us today.
And Franco, where are you calling from?
I'm from Ostuni, on the White City.
Ostuni, where I have been. It is beautiful, as you say in your film, don't you? Well, I'm looking forward to hearing all about that film. Just before we start, the huge Italian film star Monica Vitti has died this week. What would you say about her, Josh and Franco?
It's a great loss as a woman, as an actress, as a perpetuator of a beautiful part of Italy. She's really an icon, and I think her death is really iconizing all the effort she's been doing all throughout her life. And so it's a loss, but at the same time, a new acquisition in a better world, I suppose.
That's it. And Franco, did you watch any of her films?
I think it's a very original woman and very strong woman. And I looked many movies from Monica Vitti, and I think she's so beautiful. I'm very sad because she.
That's it, yes, she was a real star, wasn't she? Okay, well, this film that we are talking about today, which is your film, which is named Josh and Franco, your two names. So it was produced by Katz Laszlo and directed by the Europeans podcast. So Josh and Franco has been officially selected for Best LGBTQIA plus short film in the MiraBan UK Film Awards. And before we learn a little bit more about how you made it, we're going to play a trailer.
Hey, Daddy.
Hi, love.
So here we are. How do you feel?
Honestly, I've been nervous.
I feel you. So let me do the talking then, okay?
Go ahead, my son.
Introductions first. I'm Josh, and this is my dad Franco over the phone. I'm honestly reading some notes because I'm quite nervous too. So far we've introduced ourselves as a traditional dad and son duo. There is yet another story though. We're both, in fact, gays, homosexuals. Both my dad and I. We both come from the tiniest village in the south of Italy you can think of. where this bond was once a shame, a sin and a disease even. This is not the story we want to share with you though, right Dad?
At all, Josh.
This is a story of friendship, pride, understanding and empathy. We are Josh and Franco, and this is our story.
Absolutely fantastic film, which I watched yesterday, loved it. And so let's just see if we can get Josh and Franco back, because I just want to ask you about the process first of all, Joshua. Did this start out as an audio only podcast and then you added the pictures later, or the producer director added the pictures later?
Yeah, so we participated in this like European-wide call for podcasts actually. So it was born as an actual podcast. And eventually we realized that we were, needing a sort of visual part that could complement the audio. So yeah, it was born as a podcast that eventually became a visual podcast.
And those visuals, was it Katz Laszlo who decided on the visuals, would you say?
It was actually another artist called Eddie Stock who made a complimentary amazing job. But yeah, it was a sort of a collegial
It was a team
job.
effort, and all done remotely, I think.
Indeed, yeah. Back then I was living in Egypt, my dad, Italy, and the whole thing was made between, continents.
Fantastic, a
across
real
Europe,
international
basically.
effort. And so it is your story, isn't it? And if I can ask Franco, it's such an unusual story, isn't it? I mean, I had originally thought that you had got married and had a family and then realised you were gay. But actually you knew you were gay all along. Is that right? I'm wondering if Franco has frozen.
Joshua.
Yeah, he might need some sort of
Right.
translation, which
Go
I
ahead.
apologize for, but this is
You
part
can
of
do
the
the
authentic
translation.
process. Sì, Sara ci chiedeva se la cosa che l'ha sorpresa di più è il fatto che tu fossi già consapevole della tua omosessualità, non l'hai realizzato con il matrimonio, ma lo sapevi già. Quindi vorrebbe sapere un po' di più relativamente alla tua consapevolezza da omosessuale, che non è avvenuta durante il matrimonio, ma durante, già prima.
But that was
I
the
think
way
it's
round it
freezing.
was, as you
Yeah.
said in the story, didn't you?
Yeah,
And-
the
and
story
that-
is I gay because when I find my wife, she's the first time she's 15 and I'm 21. I never think I'm married, but with the time, I don't know. I like this woman. I need a family. I need children, and I say, why not? Why not? Why not make a family? I feel this now, and I want this now. After with the time, I understand. I don't feel love, but I feel just I like this woman, but it's not love, And
Yeah. And she was very accepting, wasn't she?
yeah, something yes, something no, because she said one time she said to me, Franco, this is not your life. You make your life. When you're happy, I'm happy. And I say, okay. And to this, I stay now alone. I know one story because I want first understand myself. I don't want another story, and I don't want come another person in my life, and I want make again no good question. You understand me? I want first understand myself.
That's it. Did you consider moving abroad to have your family? Would it have been easier in America?
Joshua che ha detto, non ho capito.
Hai mai considerato di trasferirti all'estero? Credi che se ti fossi tipo trasferito in America sarebbe stato più facile, per esempio?
No, never. Because I think the problem is not the place, the problem is yourself. It's when you go to America or you go to Germany, or I think when you don't stay good with yourself, it's not the place, but it's your person. This question helped me more because it's a small town.
Yeah. You're just freezing a little bit there, but I think we got the idea of that, didn't we? But I was just wanting to bring in.
People talk, oh, Franco. Cosa, Josué?
No, ho detto che hai risposto. Ci sono stati problemi di connessione, ma hai risposto, non ti preoccupare.
Okay, I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring in Jay and Thomas now, because I know you have a lot of your own questions, and Thomas, you are the juror, one of the jurors in this category, aren't you? Do you have any questions that you, Jay and Thomas, would like to ask now? Go ahead. I've got more later of my own.
Okay, yeah, personally I would have a question if it's possible. Maybe that's a question for Josué, if you don't mind, because I at the beginning, as you just mentioned it was a podcast, and as a documentary maker myself, I know it's a bit of a work to make sure that everybody, before we record, everybody is in a certain mood, is comfortable. Otherwise we have people freaking out, in front of the camera or in front of a microphone. So my question would be, do you have a certain trick to make sure that people feel comfortable before you record? And especially with your father, it's a different type of relationship, of course. It's a particular one. Do you have a trick? Do you have a method before you record?
I have to confess that it was just a process that we just embarked upon with all the challenges and threats of this. And originally we recorded more than 9 hours, and eventually we had to trim and to edit to create a version that could be feasible for the people. In those 9 hours, of course, this sort of a learning process that was taking place, because we were not experienced and professional speakers. Mm-hmm. So we were learning by doing it, really. But the amazing job was made by Kat Laszlo when she edited the version and she created one that could be feasible for the people. So that was where the professionalism stepped in, and she basically made magic.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
She really did make magic. Jay, did you have a question?
Yes, I actually want to take the opportunity of bringing this more to a national level, because the story of Josh and Franco is always a personal one, but it also involves everyone who had a similar experience. It also involves the LGBTQ+ community in Italy. And I want to ask to Josh actually a point of view on human rights and civil rights for the LGBTQ+ community in Italy, because when we hear his story, obviously everything is on the bright side, and we are very glad that this is the situation, and that Ostuni has been an open-minded town that welcomed the change after all. But I'm wondering what we had in October 2021 with the anti-homophobia bill being voted down from our Senate, and this event was welcomed with a round of applause, which made me wonder. So I really would love a reflection on this particular point for all the people who are part of the LGBT community and are following us now.
It's a very serious topic, and unfortunately for those people who don't know, not Italians, we don't have a law against those hate crimes against the LGBTQI+ community. In order to just propose one, we had to gather women and people suffering from disabilities just to make the voice louder. And even so, like in Italy, it's the second country in the Oxy area in terms of femicide. Every day in Italy, 3 women are killed. And we have also the highest number of transgender people killed in Europe. And we ranked 34th in Europe and in the European geographically speaking area in terms of human rights related to the LGBTQI+ community. So there is indeed an emergency. Yet, as you said, when the law did not pass, the parliament made an applause. And our movie happened to be launched in that very moment. I think that our applause actually will give us more credit, because Italy owes us something. So I really hope they can re-propose the law in Italy, and that applause gets transformed into something else. And I feel kind of a pride, because really our cartoon, and the reason why we also decided to make the medium of a cartoon, because we wanted to reach as many people as possible, including children. We could not impose, because we don't have sexual education in our schools, in our system, so we can't. But it was up to families and up to the people, but that sort of a medium, that sort of a language was meant to, gather as many people as possible to start really from childhood. That's why it was really a manifesto in a very specific momentum Italy was leaving. So the situation is very sad, bad, serious, but yet we have more strength, and Italy owes us something because of that applause. So I thank those people for applauding, because there's a cost for everything, and we can't wait to be paid back.
You don't, because all the European countries are meant to be harmonising their rules and their laws, aren't they? So but they're behind the rest of Europe on hate crimes and things, are they? And homophobia?
25 years late. 25 years late. And we've been penalized because, like when you got a big brother called Europe and you do not behave, you get taxed, you get fined, and we paying as we talk, economically speaking. So it's just not a matter of lives because people are dying, as I said before. We just economically paying this.
Although, as you say in the film, it's a really positive story, isn't it, of acceptance and people coming from the whole region to your father's restaurant and sort of celebrating and being accepting of it. I wondered if you had sort of painted over any opposition to his restaurant and the room at the back. Was there any opposition?
I have to confess that when you create stories, you have to, you have responsibilities because you need to portray and represent a greater community. So in those 9 hours, of course, there were lots of things that we wanted to say, but we had to propose also a story that Italy could meet our lives, and we are both homosexual. So talking about homosexuality already is something difficult in the country. Imagine talking about you being gay and your dad being one. So of course we had to sugarcoat, so to speak, the whole story. And of course we had our own threats, challenges and disputes and violence and so on and so forth. But this was not the story we wanted to talk about, because people could fabricate easy, derivations. You got a disease, there's a legacy. It's kind of something that you can pass down from father to son. This is not a story we deserved in our own country. So of course there was a layer, but there was the maturity we had achieved over the years, and the fact that we were trying to to make this country a bit updated, came with some sort of, choices we had to make. So the story was also edited according to the narrative we wanted to pass. But that sort of a sugar-coated version is just our
So I'm thinking
you
probably in Italy don't have anything like some of the government campaigns that we've had here in the UK, saying some people are gay, get over it, and the government has got behind this acceptance. But I guess you have the opposite of that.
Not really. Italy is a very dichotomic country. We also had Europe's first and the world's second transgender deputy back in 20 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a kind of a very dichotomic country. We also got the very first porn star sitting in the parliament. So these are very dichotomic countries and realities. So I don't know.
Yes,
actually,
yes.
Really,
well, so there's a whole different background to you making this film in the first place, isn't there, than there would be in America or in the UK kind of thing. Oh my goodness, very, very important. I tell you, one of the things you said in the video, you said homosexuality isn't a disease, it's the stigmatization that is the disease. And you've said in other interviews that Ostuni, which is quite a small town, isn't it, sort of touristic, beautiful town, has now changed for the better. Has it become more accepting, or?
I think my dad is really a sort of a exemplification of, he resisted, but yet he had to get married. So that's a compromise. But that compromise, along with his strength, gave a balance. Society speaking, this is what is called a social contract, and he seemed to understand it, and that's why he got completely immersed in it, but with lots of strength, lots of violence at the same time. But anyways, sometimes, we tend to think of small towns as backward and bigoted, and no, that's not the case, honestly. Australia has been kind of welcomed, but thanks to Dad also, and who really made a
Definitely.
fight.
Please, Thomas, do come in if you have your own questions, because otherwise I'm going to dominate.
Okay, no, I just want to tell both of them, Franco and Josue, that it was great to be funny and entertaining and not have this shame of making fun with that, because we've seen, I guess this is the same for you, for everybody who is watching us. This is so common to describe, homosexuality and all of these issues around it, with dramas and even tragedies and things like that. And we have seen a lot of this kind of movies or podcasts or whatever, or books also. And I guess now it's great to have some distance with that and say, it's a problem, maybe not a big deal, and we can have fun with that. I really appreciate that. I just wanted to mention that. And if I might have, ask a question, I would ask, what was the process? When finally did you start working on it, on the podcast, and then moving from the podcast to the movie? Who gave you this idea? What's behind the story of the construction of this movie? Is that possible that you summarize it?
Yeah. I was living in Egypt back then, and all of a sudden I see this European call saying, we're looking for 8 stories from Europe, but from the outskirts. And those 2 basically keywords somehow clicked and resonated with me. So, Europe and outskirts, my story. And I've always known that my story was meant to be told because other people had approached me and so on and so forth. So that maybe was really the moment. I call my dad and I say, hey, we got this story, just that 1 minute pitch. I'm going to call you and we're going to try to make a sort of a, exemplification of what a story consists of. Okay, Josh, no worries. Worst case scenario is going to be just a testament of where we stand now. Call him, have the call that is basically the first minute of the video we watched before. We sent it to Europe, but it was open to 27 countries, so it was a huge thing. But we said, worst case scenario, we just had fun. They called us and they told us, is this story true? Because it's kind of, really? I said, yeah, of course. Can we have a conversation, the 3 of us? And we did. And then not only they selected us, but we were also selected as the first and opening story of the whole series. And eventually we realized, but this was part of the project, that, the visualization of these great topics could exemplify and make closer, more magnetic, empathetic, the relationship with these stories. So we transformed the podcast into a visual podcast. That's basically what you want.
And it's really successful, isn't it? I think. Go ahead, Jake.
Yes, from my side, I want to thank Thomas for, in a way, stressing the fact that we have seen enough of movies about homosexuals, having suicidal thoughts and ending up actually in movies. If I think back to the movies like The Children's Hour with Shirley MacLaine and Audrey Hepburn, and if you have a little bit of knowledge of cinema history, that's a movie that shows how much you have to probably just sympathize, have pity for these people, but you can't feel that love, and the only solution for that love is basically an impossible love. So we transitioned from that to having movies like Lost and Delirious, Brokeback Mountains, and then finally Blue is the Warmest Color arrived in 2016, and suddenly people went to the movie theater and said, being lesbian, being gay, it's not so bad after all. So I can witness as also an audience a transition, but what I hope and I really push producers and filmmakers of both the independent film industry and the mainstream industry, stop making movies about being homosexual and the discovery of being homosexual. We know that we want to see more. Now with Josh and Franco, that the reason we love this movie in particular is because it's such an unusual story, and this is really a story that needs to put the light on the discovery, because it's really unusual to be both father and son gay and support each other and find this bond, this empathy that grows. But for the future, I hope that, since we were talking about the LGBT community as being normalized in a way, let's move on. Let's gay people and lesbian people fight and break up like heterosexual do. So that will be great. That will be a step up from the both mainstream and independent film industry. So this is more of me in a way commenting on Thomas right thought. And one question that I still want to bring to Josh, and that is for me is more movie related. I really wanted to put a light on the fact of your discovery of your father's locanda. So as you know, oh, we had an interference. Sorry, I'm muting the background. As you discovering the first time the locanda on the internet, you said you were shocked and you felt, oh my God, my father is doing these things. How was, apart from your first reaction, did you ever feel shame in that moment, or you never had that thought and you actually give you the push to speak to your dad and say, we need to clear this out?
I was very ashamed. I was panicking. I was in a place. I was just 12, so I was really young. And the internet, once upon a time, used to be the Bible. You couldn't. I didn't have those critical tools to really metabolize that what you could say had some sort of other intentions, other stories, other backgrounds. So I just got it as the utmost truth. But my dad made sure to tell me that he was a homosexual when I was 12. So there was no need for me, because my dad has always been a very verbal human being, outspoken. So he just came to me and told me, hey, I'm gay. And yes, but it was just like, off talking this way, it was very natural, very authentic. So it was not, and I just happened to do this research because once upon a time, once again, the internet was not the thing. I happened to, because I was moved. I was frozen. I was in a flat place. But, that makes you stronger, I suppose.
I tell you what I was going to ask. You speak about being very thankful that your father enjoyed sex so much, and actually not many people want to think about their parents having sex at all. And so that was a little bit weird to me. Or do you think you have a father-son relationship or more of a two gay friends relationship?
I think Freud would say I had to kill my dad because my dad was a very heavy character to digest, to live with. So this was not really a loss, it was just a gain to me, because sometimes we just think of parents as like divine beings that they cannot make mistakes and so on and so forth. When I humanized my dad, I understood that he had pulses and manifestation needs. So I humanized him and I just contextualized his needs. They were just a bit eccentric, but I had the strength and the courage to externalize them, to make them explicit. So once I contextualized his needs, to me was a peer, a friend, a mature man, a man, but also my dad. So no negation.
And I wanted also to ask Franco, did you have any doubts about making the film?
Che ha detto che io voglio?
No, ti chiede se tu hai mai avuto dei dubbi di fare questo pezzo, questo prodotto. Hai mai dubitato di dover fare questo podcast oppure per te è stato andato sempre bene?
No, because I think it's good to explain my story, and I can help maybe a family or another person. It's for me very important. I never think it's maybe no, maybe yes. Just speak to me, say what you think. I say yes. Why not?
Why not? I'm thinking, why not go for it? I'm thinking we are coming towards the end of our time. So if Jay agrees, I think we might have to start wrapping up in terms of time. There's a lot more we could talk about, isn't there? But we're going to have to keep that to the online chat, which will hopefully follow after this. But no, it's been really interesting to talk to all of you, and thank you so much for your attention. Let me just give a couple of reminders to our audience. So basically, all shortlisted candidates will be available on our streaming platform from the 14th to the 17th of March, and you can vote for your favourite, which will get the Best Film Audience Award. So for the people watching this live stream, do get onto that platform and watch all of the shortlisted films and vote for the one which you like the best. And the second reminder is that the award ceremony will take place at the World Cinema in Southeast London on the 17th of March at 7 p.m. UK time. So this is when the winners will be announced. We'll have the envelope with the winner's card in there, and the winning films will also be screened. So to get tickets, check the link in the comments section of this live stream, or also you can visit miraban.com. So can I please say thank you so much, Josh and Franco Prezioso.
Thank you for having us. It's very important for our country to begin with, so thank you. The fact we're here today, it's really important for our country, and regardless of the victory or non-victory, but it's really a victory to us to stay here, so thank you for sharing this. Thank you.
No problem, and thank you also to Franco from Ostuni. Thank you for your time today. It's been really interesting to hear from you. Thank you also, Thomas De.
You're welcome, Sarah. Thank you, all of you. It was a great moment. Thank you very much.
Lots of fun. And also thank you to Jay Manari, who is the festival director. Thank you, Jay. And what I would just say also is that that's the end of this live stream. Do look out, though, for our other live streams before the big day on the 17th of March. And with that, shall we all say goodbye? Thank you very much for watching.
Bye.
Thank you.